Steph Curry just had an out-of-body experience, scoring 36 points en route to Team USA's comeback against Serbia on Thursday. Now they're going to be locked in to play France for the gold, and in order to see if they can do it, we got to look at some history. So during group play in the first 3 games against Serbia, South Sudan, and Puerto Rico, Steph didn't play that well, actually. Steph only averaged 25% from 3, which was not expected since the FIBA three-point line is a lot shorter than the NBA. I think it's about a foot shorter. And you would think that the greatest shooter of all time would be able to just like, hey, let me step in and make a lot more threes. That hasn't been the case. For the first 3 games, he shot 25% collectively, that's not what we expected from Curry. But we can attribute Team USA's success during those 3 games to LeBron, Kevin Durant, and honestly, Devin Booker. Devin Booker's been balling. And against Puerto Rico, guys like, Ant had 26 points against Puerto Rico. They just looked good. And that's been amidst conflict with Jason Tatum not playing and Joel Embiid not playing super well. He's been playing okay, but he has not been the MVP that we know Joel Embiid to be. And even though Curry and Joel have not been playing that well, LeBron has been, I'm going to say, he's been carrying. Against Serbia earlier on, LeBron had 21, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds. He shot 80% from the field. He went 8 for 10 from 2-point, and he had 1 for 3 from 3. So overall, shot 69% from the field. And he's just been going crazy. That's the most amount of shots that game by any player by about 5 to 6 shots. So LeBron's definitely taking the lead here as the captain. Captain L'America, as people are saying. I freaking love that nickname. Then against South Sudan, some of the starters didn't really do well. Like we started Tatum that game and he had 4 points, but off the bench, Bam had 18, Ant had 13, KD had 14. Like it was a very big bench effort for the game against South Sudan, and obviously LeBron came in clutch. And then once again, the game against Puerto Rico, we started Tatum and Embiid again. Embiid at 15 was pretty good. Tatum had 10 points, 10 rebounds. LeBron 10, 8, and 6. Curry out there. This is one of the games where he went 2 for 6 from 3. 33% is not bad, but he wasn't really making an impact like we were expecting. And those were his only 3 shots. But the thing about Team USA is there's so many superstars in this team that everyone kind of gets their turn. That's kind of what has been happening so far. Anthony Edwards comes off the bench, 26 points, 3 for 6 from 3, 8 for 9 from the field. Like, he kind of just showed up and balled out, shooting 73% one day. In these knockout games, that's all you need is just that one guy to come out and just go crazy. Like, just for reference, looking here again, once again, Devin Booker, 22 minutes. That's more than anybody who started. And then he had a box plus minus of 9. All the other starters are negative box plus minus, which is very interesting. 10 points. He's been one of the most reliable scorers. We look here. He's got 12 points against Serbia. He's got 10 against South Sudan. He had 9 against Puerto Rico. Like he's just been consistently there every single game. And there are some guys that you need like that, especially when Curry and Embiid aren't playing to like the max of their potential of what we expect them to be doing, right? That's kind of why Team USA has been able to go to the gold so far. And LeBron James really has been the captain of this team. Look at it. Up until this point, LeBron James is leading Team USA in points, rebounds, assists, and field goal percentage. And with guys on the team like Bam and AD, who they can like shoot the ball, but they're mainly in the paint. And even guys like KD, who's like the efficiency GOAT, right? LeBron, like you said, let's see, he shot 80% one game. So we got LeBron, 69%. Next game, 55%. Next game, 66%. So he's just taking smart shots. He's getting a lot of assists from what I've seen personally from watching LeBron. He's feeding the ball. He's keeping the pace at a high tempo. And he's playing some of the best basketball I've seen played in an Olympic setting in my entire life. So the verdict as far as that they're good. Ant had some good games. KD had some good games. Like I said, they've been sharing the wealth a lot. But this Serbia game was talked about a lot going into it because this is the 3rd time that they've played Serbia in a month in an Olympic setting. So they've had a lot of experience relative to the Olympics in terms of playing this Serbian team, beat them both times pretty handily. And everyone was saying, oh, Jokic has been kind of just like holding it off. He's been sandbagging. He's going to come out and beat you guys. Because we obviously saw what Jokic did to Australia in the game before. He just turned it on, 4th quarter, and overtime, and just hit the Jets, and he was going crazy. So coming into this game, the U.S. felt that they needed to do some different things to make some adjustments. And I didn't really even hear anything about like, oh, man, Joel and Steph need to play better. I did hear a lot about Joel, but especially against Jokic. This is the kind of guy you need to go off. And luckily, Steph just comes out, like we know, 36 points, 9 3-pointers. LeBron had a triple-double. I didn't even know that until after the game. That was just a crazy, like, shout out to LeBron for just kind of blending in, playing the game at a great tempo, keeping U.S. afloat, especially when they were down like 13, 15 points, something like that. And honestly, just feeding Steph. He was feeding Steph a ton. I think that's the reason why he had so many assists. But Steph almost broke the Olympic. I don't know if it's the Olympic record. I know it's the U.S. record for points in a game in the Olympics. When Carmelo Anthony had 10 3-pointers, he scored 37 points. Steph had 36 points in this game, had 9 threes. Obviously, one of the most ridiculous offensive performances we've seen from an Olympic player of any team, of any country. And obviously LeBron as well with the triple-double. That's impressive in 40 minutes of play instead of 48. And that's just crazy. But like I said, they've been sharing the wealth. One guy just needs to go off every game and they're fine. They've won games handily. But when they weren't winning, LeBron stepped it up basically against Germany and against South Sudan. So they've had a guy to kind of give the ball to and to feed in those moments. So in order to beat France, what needs to happen, right? So France's lineup is very weak at the guards, especially where it's like LBC or Cordinier is even, I think he's maybe a 2 or a 3, but he's 6'4", 6'5". He's not super tall. Frank the Tank, he's a beast. He's been pretty good for him. But they have the bigs. They got Wemby, Gobert, Lasor, Yabusele. They've got the wings. They've got Fournier. They got Batum. Like, they have those NBA caliber guys who especially want to win it on their home turf. If you watch the Germany-France game, the broadcasters were talking about how that for basketball, the home team has not medaled in over 30 years, which that's crazy. So the fact that France is guaranteed a silver, pretty special thing. So they're going to want to go for that gold. So since France's lineup is very weak at the guards, you're going to need Steph Curry and D Book to kind of outscore them, and they need to do it first to kind of send that message. But even then, that's what Germany did. Franz Wagner was going crazy in the first quarter against France, and they were up almost 10 going into the halftime, and then France comes back. So this is a very resilient team. They need to just keep pouring it on and pouring it on. That's where you got guys like Steph, KD, and these like offensively charged guys. Give it to Embiid against Wemby and Gobert. Like they just need to pick their spots, play very good team basketball, and if they can have one guy go off like Steph went off, that is going to be it's going to be wraps, 100%. And defensively, it's going to be important too. I mean, you got to have Derek White, Drew Holiday. Steve Kerr is going to have to be very, very articulate with his lineups here because you want to have the offense to outscore this French team. But at the same time, guys like Isaiah Cordinier for France has been hooping. Like he had 2 games where he's hit 5 3-pointers. So France is going to be desperate. So you got to balance that offense and that defense with Drew Holiday, Steph Curry, and then because you got to have maybe D. White in there to guard Cordinier or Batum, whoever has the high hand. You got to mix that offense and the defense, especially at the guard spot. I think that's going to be the key factor to beat France. Once again, Steph, absolutely unreal performance against Serbia, and I'm excited to see if he can do the same thing. If he can even score more than 15 to 20 points, that's already more than he's been doing in the Olympics so far. And I think that right there will guarantee the U.S. a gold medal. Like that, seriously, you just need one more game of more than 15 to 20 points from Steph Curry, basically, especially like we talked about with the guards. There's nobody on that team that can guard Steph Curry. No shot. Unless they throw Batum or Wemby, like something crazy, there's no guards on France that can beat Steph Curry defensively. So you got to have him and D Book, your 2 guards, kind of go off. So it's gonna be spreading the wealth. It's gonna be moving it around. But at the end of the day, LeBron, I think, is gonna have to backpack and pick and just feed whoever's the high hand that day. So it's gonna be very, very interesting. France is not gonna go down without a fight. They are a very, very good, strong team. They can shoot. They can play defense. They run fast. They're long. They have Wemby. They have Gobert. So it's gonna be very, very fun to watch. But Steph Curry, I think, can lead these guys to a gold medal.